I'm ready whenever you. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون وسواء عليهم أنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب أليم قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون أتخذ من دونه آلهة إن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغني عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون ألم يروا كما أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون وإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون وآية لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها هبا فمنه يأكلون وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وأعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم أفلا يشكرون سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون وآية لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالعرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا ونطعم من لو يشاء الله وأطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مركدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم إن لا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لطمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نعمره ننكس في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وذللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم ير الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحييها الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون صدق الله العلي العظيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد سورة المباركة الفاتحة
محمد وآل محمد صلوات صلي على بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم إني أسألك وأتوجه إليك بنبيك نبي الرحمة محمد صلى الله عليه وآله يا أبا القاسم يا رسول الله يا إمام الرحمة يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وخزمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفى لنا عند الله
يا أبا الحسن يا أمير المؤمنين يا علي بن أبي طالب يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا فاطمة الزهراء يا بنت محمد يا قرة عين الرسول يا سيدتنا ومولاتنا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيهة عند الله اشفعي لنا عند الله يا وجيهة عند الله اشفعي لنا عند الله يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي أيها المجتبى يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا عبد الله يا حسين بن علي أيها الشهيد يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن الحسين يا زين العابدين يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله ولنا عند الله يا وجيها اشفع لنا عنده يا أبا جعفر يا محمد بن علي أيها الباقر يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وخدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها اشفع لنا عند يا أبا عبد الله يا جعفر بن محمد أيها الصادق يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وخدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله يا أبا الحسن يا موسى بن جعفر أيها القاضم يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها اشفع لنا عند يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن موسى أيها الرضا يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا يا أبا جعفر يا محمد بن علي أيها التقي الجواد يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا، يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله، يا وجيها عند الله، يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن محمد، أيها الهادي النقي يا ابن رسول الله، يا هجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا، يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله، يا وجيها عند الله، يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي، أيها الزكي العسكري يا ابن رسول الله، يا هجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا، يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله، يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا، يا وسي الحسن والخلف الهجة، أيها القائم المنتظر المهدي يا ابن رسول الله، يا هجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا، يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله، يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله، يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله. عجب. يا سادتي وموالي، إني توجهت بكم وعمتي وعدتي ليوم فقر وهاجتي إلى الله، وتوسلت بكم إلى الله واستشفعت بكم إلى الله فاشفعوا لي عند الله واستنقذوني من ذنوبي عند الله فإنكم وسيلتي إلى الله وبحبكم وبقربكم أرجو نجاة من الله فكونوا عند الله رجائي يا سادتي يا أولياء الله صلى الله عليهم أجمعين ولعن الله أعداء الله ظالميهم من الأولين والآخرين آمين يا رب العالمين.
محمد والے محمد صلوات. نعرہ تکبیر، نعرہ رسالت، نعرہ حیدری حیدری، محمد والے محمد بلندتر صلوات. ایک علی اکبر کی شان میں ایک مرثیہ پیش کرنے جا رہا ہوں. صلوات پڑھ دیں. تڑپ کی لاشیں اکبر پہ بولی سیدھی نبی ہمارے نور نظر کو لگی نظر کسی کی ہر ستم غریب مسافر پہ مزید کیا. ہر بتاؤ کس نے میرے شعر کو شہید کیا. سنا کلیج پہ اکبر کے مارنے والے سنا کلیج پہ اکبر کے مارنے والے پتہ ہے کس طرح بیٹا جوان ہوتا ہے. سنا کلیج پہ اکبر کے مارنے والے پتہ ہے کس طرح بیٹا جوان ہوتا ہے. بڑی ہی ناز
سے پالا ہے یہ جوان پسر، یہ میرے گھر کا اجالا، یہ میرا نور نظر، یہ میرا حسینیوں والا ریاضتوں کا ثمر، یہ میرا حسینیوں والا ریاضتوں کا ثمر، لہو میں ڈوبا ہوا ایڑیاں رگڑتا ہے، سنا کلیج پہ اکبر کے مارنے والے، پتہ ہے کس طرح بیٹا جوان ہوتا ہے، اور یہ میری گود میں قرآن کی طرح رہتا تھا، یہ نور بن کے میری آنکھ میں چمکتا تھا، یہ سایہ بن کے میرے ساتھ ساتھ چلتا تھا، میری صدا پہ نہ کوئی جواب دیتا ہے، سنا کلیج پہ اکبر کے مارنے والے، پتہ ہے کس طرح بیٹا جوان ہوتا ہے، اور علی کی بیٹیاں جھولا اسے جھلاتی تھی، حجاب نور میں لوری اسے سناتی تھی، اور جناب بنی اس کے ناز اٹھاتی تھی، جناب بنی اس کے ناز اٹھاتی تھی، اور اب حسین یہاں اس کی لاش اٹھاتے ہیں، سنا کلیج پہ اکبر کے مارنے والے، سنا کلیج پہ اکبر کے مارنے والے، پتہ ہے کس طرح بیٹا جوان ہوتا ہے، صلوات۔ مقتل میں پہنچی جب شاہی والا، لاشیں جوان خیموں کو دیکھا، دریا کو سے آ جاؤ بھائی اکیلا ہے عباس آ جاؤ بھائی اکیلا ہے تنہا مسافر کو لاکھوں نے گھیرا ہے عباس آ جاؤ بھائی اکیلا ہے تم نے نہ دیکھی غربت ہماری زینب تھی لائی میری سواری رخصت کا میری منظر عجب تھا ہاں سینے سے لگ جاؤ بھائی اکیلا ہے عباس آ جاؤ بھائی اکیلا ہے جب سے ہو بچھڑے عباس ہم سے اہل حرم ہے لپٹے علم سے کیسے جئے گی بالی سکینہ ہاں کیا ہوگا بتلاؤ بھائی اکیلا ہے عباس آ جاؤ بھائی اکیلا ہے اور لشکر کہاں کا جب تم نہیں ہو آدھا تو خوشی ہے اب تم نہیں ہو کتنا اکیلا کتنا ہوں تنہا سینے سے لگ جاؤ بھائی اکیلا ہے عباس آ جاؤ بھائی اکیلا ہے تنہا مسافر کو لاکھوں نے گھیرا ہے
محمد والے محمد صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم جب مل گئے باواز بلند صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم صلوات پڑھ دیں گے اللہم ایک دفعہ اور صلوات پڑھ دیں گے
نعرہ صلوات. Farhan, can you come here? I need your assistance here, please. Mu'mineen, please recite Surah Fatiha for Maruma Irshad Fatima, mother of Talib Sheikh, who sadly passed away about 20 minutes ago. Maroom Roshni Lalji Hirji Mamdani, whose third birthday it is today. Roshni Lalji Hirji Mamdani was a fine man, a man whose qualities of integrity, kindness, and compassion precede him, and a fine example of a Khoja citizen, of which there are many, but he was one of the finest examples we've known. Maruma Zarin Bai Mauji, Maroom Fazal Virani, whose 12 months birthday it is tomorrow. 12 months is tomorrow, the first birthday. Maroom Muhammad Raza Lakha, whose first birthday it is today. Maroom Sohail Ali Bai, whose first birthday it is today. Maroom Muhammad Taki Pirbai, Maroom Razia Bai Pirbai, Maroom Leila Bai Virani, Maroom Ramzan Virani, Maruma Sakina Mahmud Ahmad, Maruma Sugra Bai Wazir Ali Kaaba, Maroom Ramzan Ali Muhammad Ali Walji, Maroom Hassan Qasim, Maruma Bachubai Dharamsi Padani Dharamsi, Padani Jan Muhammad Padani, Maroom Hassan Ali Shivji Karim, Maroom Jafar Jeraj, Maroom Haidar Ganji, Maroom Akbar Ali Bachu Sumar, Maroom Shirin Bai Sumar, Maroom Sayyida Bai Datu, Maroom Khushra Ghulam Ali Fazl, Maroom Hussain Habib Nasser Laka, Maroom Shiraz Ali Ghulam Hussain, Maroom Imran Imam, Maroom Asghar Padani, Maruma Nazma Bai Padani, Maruma Fatma Bai Ramji, Maroom means of the Ramji family, Maruma Fatma Bai Akbar Ali Jamal, Maroom Akbar Ali Hashim Jamal, Maruma Fatma Bai Shamim Bai Zainab Bai Shirin Bai Ali Bai Bimji, Maruma Khatun Bai Hamza, Maruma Amina Bai Manji, Maruma Amina Bai Padani, Maroom Muhammad Pardhan, Marhum Muhammad Ali Manji, Marhum Shabir Hamza, Marhum Hamza Ali, Marhum Askar Virani, was the president of Stanmore Jamaat about 20 years ago. Marhum Muhammad Taqi Nazrali Nur Muhammad. Marhum means of the Ramji Laka family, Marhum means of the Visanji family, Marhum means of the Muhammad Ali Walji family, Marhum means of Qasim family, Marhum means of the Paptani family, Maroom means of the Jafar Pardhan family, the Taki Zada family, the Amar Si Mauji family, Nasser Virji family, the Padani families, the Suma families, the Khoja families, the Salwani families, Juma families, the Asaria families, Barwani families, Haji Muhammad Ali Ismail, Marhuma families of Amir Ali Rajpar, Ali Bai Bimji, Maroom means of Ali Hussain Hemani families, Ramzan Ali Tarbai families, Rajb Ali Tarbai families, Ahmad Qasim families, A.M. Jafar families, Narsa Lakha families, Abdullah Kanji families, Maroom Ramzan Ali Danji and the Danji families, Maroom Akbar Ali Fazal Bimji, and all of the Maroom in Surah Al-Fatiha. The next program for Bustan-e-Zahra is day after tomorrow, Thursday. Thursday with the Vilad of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. Thursday program start 8:05 with Surah Yasin, followed by Dua Komil, and the main English lecture by our most favorite alim, Sheikh Abbas Ismail. And of course, inshallah, we'll serve you with full and graceful niyaz, serve you with affection and kindness. So niyaz will be served this Thursday. It's a big program. Also, Mu'mineen announcements for the first Barsi Majalis of Maroom Fazal Virani this Sunday, 26th of February, 3 p.m. in Stanmore. So don't forget that. Our Sufra fund is open, Mu'mineen. Sufra is going to be on the 1st of March. Fund is open. Please donate generously. We have some dua books that have been donated free of charge. Please take them from the table. They're interesting books. And the earthquake fund is open. This is cash only. We will take the cash to the earthquake victims physically. It'll be delivered in their hands. So the fund is open here today, and I'll announce it on Thursday. Let's welcome our graceful alim, Maulana Afzal Merali, with a huge Nare Salawat, Nare Salawat. Please come forward with Nare Salawat, please. There's a lot of space here. Nare Salawat.
For the love of Sayyid al-Shuhada, a second loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا رسول الله صلى الله عليك وعلى آل بيتك المظلومين الشهداء المظلومين المضطهدين المشردين عن الأوطان لعن الله الظالمين لكم من الأولين والآخرين صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله يا ابن رسول الله ما خاب من تمسك بكم وأمن من لجأ إليكم سادتي فيا ليتنا ثم يا ليتنا كنا معكم فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما مؤمنين. When Sayyid al-Shuhada on the eve of the 28th of Rajab came to the grave of his grandfather Rasulullah, as he was spending this night in ibadah, all of a sudden our Imam alayhi salam looks towards the grave of his grandfather and asks Allah subhanahu, Allahumma inna hadha qabru nabiyyika Muhammad. Oh Allah, this is the grave of your Prophet Muhammad, and I am the son of the daughter of Muhammad, and what you see is happening with me. Oh Allah, I love and I want to enjoin the good and forbid the evil. So, oh Allah, oh the glorious, I ask you with the right and the station of that belongs to the one who is buried in this grave. Oh Allah, I ask you to choose what is best for me that brings you satisfaction and to your Prophet. To hasten the appearance of our 12th Imam, perfume our majlis with loud salat ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Mu'mineen, I would like to, on this eve of the 1st of Sha'ban, this month that is a month of hope and blessings, whereby we find that a trio who was together in the event of Karbala, and they were amongst the main foundations of the success of the uprising of Karbala and of Ashura, namely Imam Hussain salamullahi alayhi, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad, his son Imam al-Sajjad, and Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas salamullahi alayhim jami'an, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. We find that they were born in the beginning of this month of Sha'ban, And on the other hand, we find the continuation and the culmination of the hope that their message brought on the 15th of Sha'ban with the birth of our 12th Imam Ajla Ta'ala Faraj Sharif. Although this journey, we can consider it to have started in Rajab, on the 28th of Rajab that day, it is noted by historians that it was the day in which our Imam al-Hussain salamullahi alayhi, he left al-Madinah, and he was accompanied with his family only. Only the Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam were with him. Only Banu Hashim were with him. This included Banu Aqil, the sons of Imam al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, the sons of Ja'far al-Tayyar. And of course, he was also with his sister Sayyidah Zainab salamullahi alayha. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. As a short preamble to contemplate on why our Imam alayhi salam chose to leave, normally in these occasions I do see it as extremely important for us to try to grasp the historical details, especially those details which are not very well known to the masses, in addition to an attempt to analyze the plan of the personality or the strategy of the personality that we normally commemorate on that occasion. So, Sayyid al-Shuhada salamullahi alayhi, on the one hand, he is faced with the following. That is, after the martyrdom of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, the form of rule had become distorted, whereby after the 10th or 11th of Hijrah, we find that this caliphate, after it was usurped from Amir al-Mu'mineen salamullahi alayhi, the Khalifas who had de facto Khalifas, is what I say. I don't say the legitimate Khalifas. I say de facto because they took it. These people, they tried to pass it on from one person to the other, but they could not come up with a unified, agreed upon method of how to pass it from one to the other. So one, he takes it, considering that yes, we had a shura amongst us. The second, he says, no, I'll just pass it to you. I like you, you're my friend. The third, he says that, okay, I will do another form of election, but from a close knit. But in one way or another, he actually meant it to go to a certain Umayyad direction. Now, after this, when Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, he got the khilaf, or he was then asked and called by the people to come and assume this responsibility after they saw the deviation that had happened during this time. Imagine Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam going to Masjid al-Kufa and finding certain deviations. Deviations, these are not from Islam at all. So when Imam Ali salamullahi alayhi comes and tells the Kufis, this is a bid'ah, this is not from Islam, this is not how it is supposed to be. This is a bid'ah, this is an innovation. So they started to scream, wa sunnata Umara. That, oh, the sunnah of Umar, look at what Ali ibn Abi Talib salamullahi alayhi wants to do. People, be careful. La ilaha illallah. Now this continued, whereby after Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, he was assassinated, and then Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam was forced to give it up due to the sheer espionage and the tactics that Muawiyah used in order to bribe the leaders of the Kufi army who were with Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. As you have to understand that it was a tribal society. Based on that, when you buy the leader of the tribe and his allegiance, and you at the same time give him promises of a lot of riches, well, then you get their allegiance, and they leave Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, or no, they even try to assassinate him in his very own camp of al-Nukhayla. Okay. When this came to Muawiyah, he did not leave any effort except he embarked on it in order to try to deviate this entire religion. Imagine during this period that I mentioned in my majlis on Thursday, that we have had so many ahadith of the Holy Prophet burned. These were ahadith that were narrated from maybe other chains other than Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. So many khutbas, 400-500 khutbas of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
according to some scholars. Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam, during this period, he was not benefited from. Nahj al-Balagha was basically just from those 4 or 5 years. Imagine how much we could have benefited from that other time. All right. Now there is even an attempt to fabricate. So they created this school of fabrication. On the one hand, we had storytellers, and on the one hand, you also had people whose spirits, whose conscience was really cheap to buy. So if an onion seller would come from Palestine to Medina, and he would come to him and say, or let's say, for example, a grocer in Medina, he wants his merchandise to sell, of course, his groceries to sell. So he goes to a so-and-so narrator, very well known. During a period of 8 months, he narrated approximately 30,000 hadith from the Prophet. MashaAllah, the Holy Prophet didn't have any time to do anything during those 8 months, neither eat nor sleep nor go anything, no hajjat al-wida, except to, MashaAllah, yes. So basically, this particular person then goes about narrating a hadith that, he who buys from the onions of Akka, it's as if he has done ziyaratu Makkah. Bah, bah. MashaAllah, the Holy Prophet. Yes, an Rasulillah. Now, this is what they're facing. Imagine that this has reached to the time of Imam al-Hussain al-Islam. That on top of all of this deviation and fabrication, and people acting according to their thoughts, things that were not even a part of Islam. In fiqh, there was a new methodology that was created as a substitute for the vacuum that was there after the Holy Prophet. Which is what? Which is the opinion of the Sahabi. Ijtihad of the Sahabi. Sometimes this went to such an extent that it was even against the Quran. So, different things with regards to salat. This is where differences came. Differences, for example, with regards to how wudu is done, contrary to the ayah itself. Well, this is where it came from. In terms of mustahab salawat, that they are supposed to be recited and prayed individually, furada, and not jama'ah. This is where it started to come. You have 2 imams amongst you. This went to such an extent that Imam al-Hasan would be sitting, but the khatib of Jum'ah, when doing the salat and everything, one of the sunnahs, ma'adallah, of that time was to curse Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam. Was to curse Ali bin Abi Talib salamullah alayhi. This is what Imam Hussain alayhi salam is facing. So on the one hand, you have this sheer despotism, okay? This dictatorship. I will pass the rule from myself, Muawiyah, to the son, to Yazid. That is it. Ummah, you don't have a say. So it has now become what? It transformed from caliphate, quote unquote. It turned into what? Kingdom, a monarchy from the time of Muawiyah. Secondly, killing people. And you have so many of the ashab of Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam who were just basically killed, just like that. Hijr ibn Adi, Bismillah, go and visit and see. He was killed, him and his son. And so many others. Just go to the books of history and you'll find that. In addition to that, the treasury of Bayt al-Mal had now become a personal bank account for whoever was ruling. So based on that, he could do whatever in the world he wanted, and you do not have any say. You as Muslims, the fact that this is supposed to be spread equally and according to everybody's proper, deserving rights and stipends and whatnot, nothing at all. This is their own personal bank account. Me and you have to remain quiet. In addition to that as well, there was also a lot of moral corruption now, whereby Yazid's demeanor was well known. Muawiyah was clever in hiding his demeanor. Muawiyah used to hide it. So that's why today you find that what? In Saudi now there is what? There is a serial that they're making of Muawiyah. Okay? And they're going to be airing it, if I'm not mistaken, during the holy month of Ramadan. Whereby that even they themselves, many of their own people, they know what Muawiyah was. Muawiyah was one of those people who would throw stones at the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He fought in those wars until he became a Muslim out of nifaq, him and his father. The Holy Prophet cursed him. And he actually died out of that curse. In addition to that as well, the ahkam of Islam would not be maintained and followed. Basically, when it would come to the ahkam of Islam, somebody has done something. In many matters, basically it was just what? Personal taste that was there. Now, Imam al-Hussain, if you want to study any uprising or any stance of a person, the very first place to understand their mission is to look at themselves, and the primary source. What does he say? Why is he doing so and so? Instead of you going analyzing. Look at what he's saying. He says the following, that, oh people, know that I have not come out in order to uprise. I am not uprising for evil, nor for oppression, nor for amusement, nor for any entertainment. I don't want to just, do whatever I want, just like I want to see what's going to happen. No, on the contrary, I have Amr al-Maruf and Nahi al-Munkar, and I want to bring about a reform in the Ummah of the Holy Prophet, and I want to act according to his seerah and the seerah of my father, Amir al-Mu'minin. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. After looking at how the situation of the people was, Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam, he goes months before his during his Rajab journey towards Mecca, or before that, in one of the visits, in one of the periods in Mecca, he has a conference and he calls people, and some of the ashab, some of the tabi'in, they came. And Imam alayhi salam, he started to explain to them who he was, the sanctity of who the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam were. He mentioned so many ayat that were revealed about them, about himself, and so many riwayat. One sahabi would say this, yes, I remember hearing the Holy Prophet say this. Another would say that, the tabi'i would say, I heard somebody who I trust who said this from the Holy Prophet, who narrated and transmitted this from the Holy Prophet. They say, yes, okay. When it came to action, unfortunately, no action was there. Imam alayhi salam, when he saw that the people of Medina are not helping him, at that he realized that there is another opportunity for me to what? To do what is known as iblagh al-hujjah. That is to say, for me to convey the hujjah, the proof, to convey the argument, and then whatever people they want to choose for themselves, I will have fulfilled my responsibility. Now the best place is where? It is in Mecca. But before coming to Mecca, he saw that in order for me to give a shock to this ummah, I need to have such an uprising, and I need to have such a meaningful uprising specifically, that will actually awake these people from the slumber. So he said, firstly, I have to what? I have to sacrifice myself. The fifth and final person from Ashab al-Kisa, the beloved grandson of the Holy Prophet, the Imam, I have to sacrifice myself. For what? For something that is more important, which is what? The religion of Islam. Yes, it is more important than, this is the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Imam was saying that, yes, this religion, it's more important than even my blood, so I have to shed it. I have to be ready for it to be shed. Secondly, and the matter that Imam alayhi salam, it's not that, no, he was going over there for uprising, by chance he was martyred. From the very beginning, he was telling people, I am going over there that I am going to be martyred. He started by telling this to who? To Al-Abbas ibn Ali, to his uncle. Al-Abbas, not ibn Ali, Al-Abbas ibn Abdul Muttalib, his uncle. Unfortunately, Al-Abbas's personality in history is not a really sound and balanced personality. There were quite a few stances in history in which Al-Abbas, he didn't have good, proper stances. Now, Al-Abbas, he comes to Imam Hussain alayhi salam before he wants to leave. That, oh, you are going. What's the reason for taking the women? So Imam alayhi salam responds to him in short form that, Sha'Allah an yarani qatilan wa sha'Allah an yarahunna sabaya. That Allah wants to see me martyred and He wants to see them taken as captives. But this is just the outside shell of it. What was the reason? The reason is actually as follows. For him to be taking his Ahlul Bayt is because of the fact that, imagine, today look in history. How do you know the truthfulness of a reformer? How do you know that? When he is ready to sacrifice himself and his household, and to also endure whatever will happen to his womenfolk. Those closest to him, what? In the path of that message for me and you. This is when you know that, oh, we have a truthful reformer. Otherwise, go out in modern day history, okay? In modern day history, you see some people who either have their own revolutions, who have this or that, but when it comes to such crucial matters, will you find that they are ready to actually sacrifice in that way? No, they will either protect themselves, their close relatives, etc. They won't put them in front of the tank, the turret of the tank. They won't do that. With regards to his wealth as well, of course, as it is well known, he took whatever possessions that he took with him, and all of these were looted. All of these were looted. His tents were looted, they were burnt, and everything. But here, I would like to mention this very important point, that why, if you would think with me, why did the Imam alayhi salam not choose just to have that uprising in Medina? You know, what was the reason for him to go all this way? Today, when we want to journey, we say, okay, khair, do you really need to travel by, by personal transport? Can you travel by public transport? Or if you don't need to go, then maybe whatever, save money. Khair, environment concerns and everything. Why did the Imam alayhi salam have to move from or go from Medina to other places? Well, there were really important considerations over here. And you have to think of how a strategist thinks. The Imams alayhi salam were extraordinary strategists of their lives, of their times, and in humanity in general. The Imam alayhi salam, if you want to see, had he chosen to remain over there in Al-Madinah, correct? What was happening? In Al-Madinah, first of all, we find that the news has just come just 2 days before he left. 2 days before he left. There were many events that happened that turned Medina dark for the Imam. 2 days before he left, news arrived. The Imam is sitting where? In Al-Masjid al-Nabawi with two people, Abdullah ibn Umar ibn Abdul Khattab, and Abdullah ibn Zubayr. He's sitting with these two, and news comes, somebody comes to them that so and so, yani Al-Walid ibn Uqba, who is the wali, the governor of Al-Madinah, he's calling you. Come. So at that, the Imam alayhi salam, they say, okay, khair, we're coming. I'm coming. It's mentioned that they start to talk to each other, they start to look at each other. Abdullah ibn Umar al-Khattab says, no, I'll just go home. When people come out to pay allegiance, I'll pay allegiance as well. Okay, khair, inshallah. Abdullah ibn Zubayr, he just ran away with his brother. They took a secondary road, a back road. They just ran away to Mecca. And they stayed over there in Mecca until Yazid's army, it attacked them over there. What about Sayyid al-Shuhada? Sayyid al-Shuhada took the decision that no, he asked some of the youth from Banu Hashim to come with him, armed, to stay outside the Dar al-Imara, that is to say the court of Al-Walid ibn Uqba. And over there, Marwan ibn al-Hakam was also sitting. The Imam alayhi salam entered. They said, Muawiyah has died. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Imam said, yes, and we want you to pay allegiance for Yazid. So at that, Imam alayhi salam, of course, what is well known, Imam says, no, let's pass the night. Somebody like me, I can never pay allegiance in silent and secret at night. I will only pay allegiance in front of everybody. That's how it should be, right? The Imam doesn't want him to start with a confrontation with them. Imam alayhi salam, when he says this khabith, Marwan ibn al-Hakam tells that, immediately get him to pay allegiance now. Otherwise, if he doesn't do so, you should kill him. You should cut off his head. Imam alayhi salam became angry. He had given the secret code to the youth of Banu Hashim that if you hear our voices aloud, then immediately enter and come. At that, Imam alayhi salam tells him, do you think that you will be the one to kill me? Kadhibt. You would never. You can never do that. And know that Yazid is so and so. He's a transgressor, he's a corrupt person, and the likes of me can never pay allegiance to the likes of him. That we are a house of prophethood. And it is us whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started with, and it is us who Allah will end with. So I will never pay allegiance to such a person. With regards to this hijrah, Medina in itself, now imagine, Imam alayhi salam leaves from there, and then he goes immediately to what? He goes to the grave of the Holy Prophet. He spends the night over there. As he does so, the people of Medina, nobody has come to his aid. The Imam alayhi salam is calling for people to come to his aid. Nobody is coming. To the extent that nobody left, no person from Medina and no person from Mecca, according to some historians, left with Imam Hussain alayhi salam to go to Iraq. Those who did so, many were Kufis, many were from Iraq, from different parts, and many were from Yemen as well. No Makki, no Madani, according to certain historians. Imagine what kind of environment that was. They did not understand the virtue of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Secondly, if that had been the case, that he had still chosen to have an uprising over there, what would have happened? Who would have come to his defense? Only his Ahlul Bayt, only his close Banu Hashim relatives. At that time, the battle would have ended quickly like that. And it would not have had that impact on top of that as well. When it is restricted to one geographical place, this does not give the opportunity to the daughters of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam and to the sufferings that the Muslims would see that this caravan is actually suffering, the children of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam passing away on the road. Nobody would have seen this media message that they saw in the actual uprising of Karbala, whereby Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam, she would turn over the general masses even against Yazid in his own city in Damascus. This wouldn't have happened. Furthermore, if he had remained in Medina, what is more so is that these people, they did not necessarily want to have a battle with him. They just wanted him dead. So it could have just ended with an assassination, and that's it. And no big shock of a happening and occurring and awakening the ummah. Of course, other material reasons are also over there, that during the conquest, during the time of the second Khalifa, who conquered Persia, etc., many of the ashab, they had emptied al-Madinah, and they went to live on the eastern and the western peripheries of the Islamic State. So the majority of fighters were in places like Kufa. Rather, Kufa itself started off as a military camp. It started off as a military camp. So they were over there. And these people in Medina, not many of them have fighters remaining amongst them. Furthermore as well, you also had the matter of trade with Persia, etc. Kufa is a center, it was a wealthy center. Can you have an uprising without any finances? The Holy Prophet ﷺ, he says what? That Islam was not spread except with what? With the defense of the sword of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam and the wealth of Sayyidah Khadija sallallahu alayhi. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. At that, hijrah is a prophetic sunnah that started with previous prophets. We find prophets in history, for example, Nabi Musa salamullahi alayhi, Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam. We find Nabi Isa alayhi salam was also well known for this, and the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Mu'mineen, mu'minat, Sayyid al-Shuhada salamullahi alayhi, as he left the court of Al-Walid, the governor of Medina, and he turned towards the mosque of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, he came to the grave of his grandfather and he started to recite, Assalamu alayka ya Rasulallah, أنا الحسين بن فاطمة فرخك وابن فرختك, that I am Hussein, the son of Fatima, your offspring, the son of your offspring. I am your grandson who you have left amongst your ummah. O grandfather, O prophet, bear witness upon them and against them, for they have forsaken me and they have not preserved my sanctity. This is my complaint to you, O holy prophet. At that, it is said that Imam Hussain alayhi salam spent a few hours in this state. In the morning, he goes back home after Salah. The second night as well, he also comes. Medina has become even more narrower to the heart of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. It is becoming even more difficult for Imam to remain in Medina. Imam alayhi salam, he comes to the grave of Rasulullah. He recites what I had recited in the beginning of my khutbah, that, oh Allah, I have come to the grave of your Nabi Muhammad. Oh Allah, and I am the son of the daughter of Muhammad. And what is happening with me is what you see. Oh Allah, I love to enjoin the good and to forbid the evil. Oh Allah, oh Ya Dhal Jalali wal Ikram, I ask you, with the right of he who is buried in this grave, oh Allah, for you to choose what is best for me. At that, Imam Hussain alayhi salam, he put his head on the grave of Rasulullah. Imam Hussain, his eyes shut for a few moments. He found himself in the world of shuhud. He found himself in the spiritual world, and before him was Rasulullah. The Holy Prophet was coming towards Imam Hussain with a battalion of angels. He tells him, Habibi ya Hussain, it says if I see you very soon, you will be on the grounds of Karbala. You will be covered in your blood, slaughtered amongst a group of my ummah. And even though you are so, but you will have died out of thirst. And these people, regardless, they will still seek my intercession on the day of Qiyamah. But I will never intercede for these people. At that, Imam Hussain alayhi salam, he turns toward the Prophet and he tells him that, oh Rasulullah, oh my grandfather, there is no need for me to return to the dunya. Take me with you. At that, these are the words, the lisan al-hal, the zabani hal of Imam Hussain. He tells his grandfather, oh grandfather, embrace me in your darih. Oh grandfather, so that I can become free of this bala. Oh grandfather, this vast dunya has become so narrow for me. At that, oh mu'mineen, it is as if Imam alayhi salam, the Prophet is telling him, it is as if the Prophet is telling him, you will taste death while thirsty in Karbala and remain in that land lying. I can see that shimmer, the cursed one, sitting on your chest, on your blessed chest, and cutting your veins. I can see my young daughters, I can see my young daughters calling out for help. Thirsty looking for a helper, but no help from them came. Thirsty looking for a helper, but no help from them came. I can see my daughters, their bodies full of wounds from being hit with the whips of those soldiers and marched all the way. From being hit and marched all the way. Oh, Bibi Sakina. Whereas Sajjad was shackled, his hands in chains and the spikes of the chains going in his neck. And the spikes of the chains piercing his neck. One more thing that Rasulullah tells Imam Hussain, can you bear to hear this? Your body will be trampled by the hooves of those horses. They will shatter your ribs, oh my beloved Hussain. Your body will be left for 3 days, no one coming to you. For 3 days, no ghusl, kafan nor dafan for you, my grandson. Inna lillah. أترى يعود لي الزمان بقربكم هيهات ما للقرب من ميعادي إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. Oh Allah, we ask you by the right of Gharib Karbala, we ask you by the right of the one who was left alone in the plains of Karbala, Ya Allah. We ask you by the right of one who held his young baby with his blood gushing from his throat, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, accept our tears and our love for Sayyid al-Shuhada, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, make them the source and the cause for their intercession for us on the day of Qiyamah, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, accept our amal, forgive our sins, grant us the tawfiq of your obedience, grant us the tawfiq of carrying out those deeds that bring proximity to you, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, hasten the reappearance of our 12th Imam, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, grant shafa'a or grant shifa to all of our marda and all of our sick, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, have mercy on our marhumeen, especially those who have just recently passed away, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, Azza wa Jal, have mercy on us when our hour comes, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, send the thawab of what we have recited to the graves of all our marhumeen, especially those marhumeen for whom this majlis was organized, along with the thawab of Suratul Mubarakatul Fatiha with the loud salawat.
Ya Hussain.
बर्बाद हुई मैं बर्बाद हुई मैं आबाद हुई वो बला हुजरा मदीना बर्बाद آباد ہوئی کرب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ برباد ہوئی میں زینب کو ناراض آیا محرم کا مہینہ برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کرب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ برباد ہوئی میں زینب کو ناراض آیا محرم کا مہینہ برباد ہوئی میں آباد کرب و بلا نا برباد. ایک دن تھا کہ اس شہر کی کرتی تھی میں شاہی اور آج تباہی اور آج تباہی لی غسل پڑا پاہ نبوت کا نگینہ برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کرب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ برباد میں آباد ہوئی کرب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ برباد ہوئی. کس لاش پہ رو کس چھوڑوں میں برادر لاشی ہے 72 لاشی 72 حد یہ ہے کہ رونے کی اجازت بھی ملی نہ برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کرب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کرب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ برباد. ایک آگ ہے خیموں میں قیامت کا سما ہے غازی تو کہاں ہے غازی دیکھو تو ردا چھین گیا شمر کمینہ برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کرب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ برباد ہوئی میں چادر چھنے در لیے اب ظلم نہ ڈھاؤ بابا سے ملاؤ بابا سے ملاؤ نیزے کے تلے بیٹھ کے روتی ہے سکینہ برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کرب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ برباد ہوئی میں زینب کو ناراض آیا محرم کا مہینہ برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کرب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ برباد ہوئی میں، اصغر کا گلا بھائی کا سر، سینہ اکبر سب گوہر و چادر، سب گوہر و چادر، اس دشت میں لوٹا گیا زینب کا خزینہ، برباد ہوئی میں، آباد ہوئی کرب و بلا، حجرہ مدینہ، برباد ہوئی میں، زینب کو ناراض آیا مہر، رم کا مہینہ، برباد ہوئی میں۔ توجہ سے
Tawajjuh Ziyarat. Before we recite Ziyarat, can I request all of us to recite Mu'ajibul, especially for those people who are ill and those people who are in dire straits. We have specific 2 requests by name. Nargis Bhai Pradhan, who is currently in hospital in UK, and Muhammad Raza Merali Ali Bhai Makoti, who is currently in hospital in Dar. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء، 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 أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. اللهم صل على محمد. سورة المباركة الفاتحة. شفاء مريض. الفاتحة. بسم الله. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك وناحت برحلك، عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعل الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام عليكم يا ساداتي وموالي جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا غريب الغربة، السلطان أبا الحسن علي بن موسى الرضا، كن شفيعنا وشفيع والدينا في يوم الجزاء ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا صاحب الزمان، ألمان ألمان ألمان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن، السلام عليك يا قابض الإيمان، السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان، أجل الله تعالى فرجك وظهورك. السلام عليكم يا ساداتي وموالي جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كل
وليك حجة ابن الحسن، صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه ساعة كل ساعة، وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا وذليلا وأين حتى تسكنه وزكاتها وثمتكه فيها طويلا يا أرحم الراحمين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.